yo, it was a little too easy to just get through. And this is why he made it so deep in there, or the shooter made it so deep in there. Because, well, reporters who were supposed to be there but weren't getting ID'd for some reason. Guess security got a little lazy. But let's hear my man out.
We're even going to get there. So that's what kind of makes this a little weird, right? So there was no standard security protocol. So there's that. Number two is, again, for anybody who's attended some of these events, it's the entire building is usually locked down. You can't even go in and out. We also have a lot of testimony from guests who were shocked at the lack of security at the event. I'm not going to play all of this, but this was Simone Sanders, who was recounting how poor the security was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. She says, I actually showed up to the Hilton shortly after 8 p.m. I took a scooter right up to the front of the driveway. Crazy. Again, there's usually barricades, multiple different checkpoints. At this, it matters because, because there's a lot of protesters outside, a lot of those barricades before you actually enter into the driveway. This year, there were no protesters. I came to find out people were milling about in the lobby. When I got off
and that's strange. So hold on. Usually there's protesters there. On the night now this is happening when there's usually protesters there. There's no protesters, and for somehow this crazy shooter is able to get through different barriers of security. Absolutely insane. Oh, guys, and make sure you guys double tap that screen and like the video. And for the 18 or 19 of you guys watching on the horizontal, make sure you smash that like button, guys. Appreciate the support, by the way. But make sure to smash the like button.
Scooter and into the front of the barricade, usually you have to show ID and a ticket. The security at the gate, who are not agents, they were identified as Secret Service. They were not identified as Secret Service agents. They did not ask me to show ID. They did not ask me to show a ticket. They said, oh, you're good. I'm sure you're going to your room. She said she wasn't even saying there. As I entered into the drive.
That's crazy. He said the folks at the security gate, these were not agents. So the Secret Service agents, so they're not agents, the Secret Service agents, they were not identified as Secret Service agents that I could see at the gate, but they did not ask me to show ID. And they did not ask me to show a ticket. They said, oh, you're good. I'm sure you're just going to your room. I'm like, what? And he's like, I'm not staying at the Washington Hotel. Oh, bro wasn't even staying there. But they gave him the free go. And this guy, and look, guys, this is what they were just letting to somebody who was supposed to be there. He was supposed to be there, guys, but he's even shocked about how easy it was for him to get in. He's like, it's almost like if he didn't even bring his ID, he'd been able to get in still. And that should be impossible.
Driveway, I saw the vehicle. The Beast was driving around in a circle of the Hilton driveway. People walking around near it, taking photos. Again, you're not like, I'm not just a layman. I cover the White House. I've been in the motorcade. I've attended dozens of these events as a professional. And I'm telling you, like, this is not normal. When I entered into the Hilton, I asked Secret Service agents, which I saw they were identified as Secret Service agents, which way the ballroom was. They said they didn't know. When I finally got to the elevator, no one asked me to show my ID. No one asked me to show a ticket. I got all the way down to the red carpet area without ever showing a ticket to anyone in the Hilton. I'm saying it like this because this is unusual. So I went to the DNC, right? With the whole team, me and Ryan. We passed through probably 4 barricades before you're even allowed to get into the convention. As a journalist, even with the press credentials, hard press credentials, which have your photo, your name, that means you've been pre-cleared and all of that by Secret Service, the amount of rigmarole that you often have to go through if you're not traveling in the president's motorcade just to be able to get to this event. I mean, again, literally days of my life. The Beast, yeah, the only time that you're generally like allowed around the Beast normally is if you're in the motorcade, and then you can't get out of your vehicle and go like up to the president's. I mean, look, words barely begin to describe. And some members of Congress are also highlighting this. Here's Mike Lawler, the congressman. He's saying, while the security perimeter outside of the ballroom worked, the Secret Service and federal law enforcement acted swiftly to secure the ballroom and move the president and high-level officials out of harm's way. The fact is, numerous glaring security issues. There was no photo ID, no verified list of attendees, which is very common for a White House event. Not just common, that's the standard. There were no magnetometers before the ballroom. Prior to the event, there were numerous receptions that someone could have easily gotten into with limited security. The building was still open to the general public. Without getting into details, I will just say there there was not a good handle on how many members of this Congress were at the event and where they were in the room. There needs to be a complete, thorough after action report as to how the gunman got from his hotel room into a secure area with numerous guns. I will also note, we'll go much more into detail this tomorrow. There is a reported, shooting that happened a couple of weeks ago, apparently near the White House, which no details that the Secret Service has been able to run down. The trail has gone completely cold. There have been numerous of these types of incidents. There's a report out there that Trump has apparently been subject to more assassination or like public assassination plots, I think, than.
It's so crazy now. This is actually starting to lead into a crazier conspiracy theory of Donald Trump is now well, I guess plotting his assassinations to kind of boost his support. Yes, there's literally this story that people are saying, oh, because his numbers is down, Iran war is unpopular, he's seeing record disapproval numbers. He's saying, you know what, he's trying to get a rally around the flag event, you know, to pretty much boost his numbers. And hopefully people be more in support of this war. You know what, though? I mean, at least they're not trying to come out and say, oh, he's an Iranian agent. This is another proof that Iran's trying to take out America. This is why we must come full force. Hopefully they don't lean into that. But hey, it ain't too late. They can still go ahead and try to pull that BS off. Just another theory that they're putting out there.
Any modern president. And to see the breakdown in the security perimeter, I think it is very valid for all of us to ask a lot of questions about how all of this happened. And the fact that the administration, frankly, I mean, look, I can only speculate, but them praising the Secret Service, and of course we can praise the individual agents, but at an overall planning level, this is not normal. As I said here, just about the Hilton Hotel, the Hilton Ballroom, about how the fact that public people were allowed in, the fact that there was apparently no scrutiny of guests, the fact, I mean, I could go on forever, like the Beast detail there that was shared. There have been multiple guests now, not just that one person, I'm not cherry picking, who talked about the lack of security and how the fact there was really only security going into the ballroom itself and not securing the entire hotel. The fact, look, who is this guy? Caltech University, not currently cooperating. We know took for a train from California to Washington, D.C., booked a room sometime in April. That's, more sophisticated level of planning necessarily than some sort of opportune style moment, maybe akin, I would say, to the Vegas shooting that happened. I think that was in 2017, which remains, totally basically unsolved in terms of like why that any of that even happened today. Still tons of questions around all of that. So everybody, be very scrutinous, I think, of a lot of the statements. And it's not like, you have good reason not to have total faith in Kash Patel, who is said to be leading the investigation. So, we're going to spend a decent amount of time going through even more of what we don't know, some of the statements made by the president, by the press secretary before any of this and all happened. But I did just want to give a full rundown of everything that we know right now.
Hold on, guys. You know me. I like to look up stuff in the background. And as I was, trolling down X to see what people are saying about this, guys, Matt Walsh, what I'm about to read you from Matt Walsh is kind of surprising. Maybe I read this wrong, but let me know if I'm tripping. I'm officially convinced it was a hoax. The Trump administration recruited a leftist Kamala Harris voting Trump hater to participate in a staged assassination that would include the shooter getting shot at and then locked in federal prison for the rest of his life. The Kamala Harris voter agreed to this plan that works against his political and personal interests because he's just like a really generous guy. Meanwhile, the Trump administration, despite dastardly planning multiple assassination hoaxes, decide to keep their patsy alive and a permanent liability to them rather than just killing him like they would have easily done. Okay, I think he's being sarcastic. I really do. They did this because they also are really strangely generous in very odd and specific ways. So in summary, we have a plot where all parties involved are working against their own interests with no real discernible benefit to any of them. There is no evidence of this plan, and it doesn't even make any intuitive sense. And the motives for everyone are unclear, if not insane. But still, I believe it because I'm a very smart person. All right, cool. Thank you. Because I was about to say, yo, Matt, I was reading those first two sentences, and I thought you was going along with the bullshit. I was like, come on, Matt. You're smarter than that. Come on now. Let's not jump the gun here. I'm not saying that it's not possible that this could have been staged. I'm not saying that's not possible. There's just nothing pointing to it. but it is a fun idea to play around with, I'll admit, but I can't be serious about it. But all right, though, I had to make sure Matt Walsh wasn't tripping.
With also the appropriate level of skepticism, as we have seen. Look, at a breaking situation, things are always wrong. Don't forget that. Initially, CNN said that the shooter was dead. Now they said he's not even hurt. Initially there was, somebody might have been shot. And yes, it was a Secret Service agent, but, he wasn't shot and hurt. So I guess it is technically true. But there's a lot of details like that were very chaotic. Also, the Secret Service, and security details of all these cabinet officials running in and escorting these people out. And then what happened, in the hours after that, and what exactly the detail and decision to cancel the event, what that all kind of broke down into.
And all right, now we're just gonna go ahead and get our guy Alex Jones' opinion on this. One of the most conspiratorial guys ever. Let's see what he's thinking. And then we're going to go ahead and move on to coverage on Iran war updates. Okay, make sure to double tap that screen, like the video, guys. Appreciate your support, by the way. And I think somebody asked me, did somebody ask me in the chat to read the manifesto again? If you want me to do that again, put a 1 in the chat. If you want me to read the manifesto of Cole Allen again, put a 1 in the chat. I'll do it. But let's go ahead and get into Alex Jones.
Everybody's asking me whether or not I think the shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner last night in D.C. was staged. And the long and short of it is no. You had too many of the D.C. police, Secret Service, all of them involved. The very small percentage of those guys are corrupt. Something like that right out in the open. A registered Democrat, Trump derangement syndrome, 30-year-old teacher.
All right, I got you.
Everybody keeps saying that, how do you get through security? He didn't. He waited until the event was going. They charged the metal detectors, barely got through it, and they shot him twice. He had a shotgun. He shot one of the Secret Service, but the body armor stopped the buckshot. That's just the facts. That doesn't mean we don't have cover-ups of Epstein and cover-ups of a second shooter in Butler, Pennsylvania. Doesn't mean I just believe what Cash Patel and them say. I don't. But, there's footage of Cash Patel out in the dark. Cell phones are so good, though, you can hit, up the light.
It's crazy where this whole idea of Trump, planning assassinations or faking assassinations is stemming from Butler. Believe it or not, like the fact that, Trump has not really taken Thomas Crook's case that seriously. He kind of just let it go. Like somebody tried to take your life, bro. You're just like lackadaisical about it. And this is why people are starting to think like, oh, maybe he just uses it as a stunt, to boast his political image and all this good stuff. And this is where it's coming from is Trump's lack of seriousness on the Thomas Crook's case and how he's kind of just letting that fall to the wayside. And, no real information has honestly been released, nor if any real information about his true intentions. And there's a lot of crazy information that, is hovering around Thomas Crooks. I mean, go look at that. Go look at that Tucker Carlson documentary. You'll see.
See him. He's all on his phone, not knowing what's going on because they ushered him all out. But the guy did not get into the main ballroom. Trump's been told that that's not a safe facility. That's why he's never been there as president. But over the objections to the Secret Service, he did it.
All right, then I'll go ahead and I'll read the manifesto again because a lot of guys missed it, but I got you. Just go ahead and read the manifesto again because this came from our guy. Well, not our guy, but the would-be assassin, Colin Allen. He says, hello, everybody. So I may have given a lot of people a surprise today, but let me start off by apologizing to everyone whose trust I abuse. All right. I apologize to my parents for saying I had an interview without specifying it was for Most Wanted. And I don't know why. The first time I read this, I kind of laughed a little bit because I was like, okay. But all right, though. He says, I apologize to my colleagues and students for saying I had a personal emergency. By the time anyone reads this, I probably most certainly do need to go to the ER, but can hardly call that not a self-inflicted status. All right. I apologize to all of the people I traveled next to, all of the workers who handled my luggage, and all of the other non-targeted people at the hotel who I put in danger simply by being near. I apologize to everyone who was abused or murdered or murdered before this. To all the, and this scares me, guys. I apologize to everyone who was abused and or murdered before this. So on the way here, what did he kill anybody on the way to the to the dinner? Hopefully not. But all right. To all those who suffered before I was able to attempt this. Okay, so did he kill somebody before this? All right, I'm just going to go ahead and read it over. But I apologize to everyone who was abused and or murdered before this, and to all those who suffered before I was able to attempt this. To all those who may still suffer after, regardless of my success or failure. I don't expect forgiveness, but if I could have seen any other way to get this closed, I would have taken it. Again, my sincerest apologies. On to why I did any of this. I am a citizen of the United States of America. What my representatives do reflects on me. I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. Well, to be completely honest, I was no longer willing a long time ago, but this is the first real opportunity I've had to do something about it. Now, the first page of the manifesto. Let's get on to the second one. While I'm discussing this, I'll go over my expected rules of engagement, probably in a terrible format because I'm not military. So, too bad. All right, administration officials, not including Mr. Patel, they are targets, prioritized from highest rank to lowest. Secret Service, they are targets only if necessary and to be incapacitated non-lethally if possible. AKA, I hope they're wearing body armor because center mass with gunshots mess up people who aren't. Okay. Hotel security, not targets if at all possible, aka unless they shoot at me. Capitol Police, same as hotel security, unless they shoot at me. National Guard, as same as security, unless they shoot at me. Hotel employees, not targets at all. Guests, not targets at all. In order to minimize casualties, I will also be using buckshots rather than slugs, less penetration through walls. And I would still go through most everyone here. Damn, I would still go through most everyone here to get to the targets if it were absolutely necessary. So, AKA, if people start trying to stop him from get to the president, he ain't afraid to start laying people out. All right. So, if absolutely necessary, on the bias that most people choose to attend a speech by a pedophile, rapist, and traitor, and are thus complicit. But I really hope it doesn't come to that. So, AKA, he's going to drop everybody in there on the fact that, oh, well, you're attending this dinner for a pedophile, rapist, and traitor. So, AKA, I feel like you're complicit and you are good to be killed. And this is a manifesto. Crazy. It's not. It's like wild. Yeah, I know. Somebody should check that luggage. Oh, God, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Appreciate the support. But let's see what Alex Jones is still saying about it.
And that's why they want the ballroom. It's just got bulletproof glass and better security systems. Every other major country has facilities to do this. We don't. That's why Trump's obsessed with it. But that's a side issue. So yeah, Charlie Kirk, definite cover up going on there. Patel ordered the investigation of foreign involvement to be killed. The list goes on and on. But just because a bunch of other stuff is a lie does not mean that this is a lie. There are a lot of Democrats that want Trump dead. There are a lot of people openly saying they want him dead. And I think Trump, really needs to be a lot more careful. But at the end of the day, Trump says he's honored in that press conference. He must be getting something done. It's only presidents that get stuff done do they try to kill, which is definitely a true statement. So I'm very glad that they've indicted the SPLC for running the white supremacist groups, which I told you decades ago is the case. Told you they were in Charlottesville. That's all come out. I just want to call the balls and strikes. Good stuff Trump does, bad stuff Trump does, I'll expose. But I noticed when I shot a live feed earlier saying, was it staged? I say right up front the first minute that I don't think it's staged, and just flooded with Trump bot, Trump cult people saying, you traitor like Candace Owens, how dare you say it's staged, blah, 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 blah. I don't think Candace Owens even commented yet. You guys just froth. And anybody that ever questions anything Trump does, like, hey, this war is a bad idea. Hey, the mullahs won't fall in 4 days. Israel's lying. Hey, the Pentagon told Trump don't do it. Fact. Hey, they'll close Strait of Hormuz.
No, literally, though. Maggie is highly sensitive to any criticism of Trump, to where now if you criticize Trump, you're a traitor to the country. And it's just like, bro, shut your dumb ass up. That is completely retarded. And here's the thing. People are allowed to disagree with Trump because he's turning away from his America First initiative or Make America Great Again agenda. And we're allowed to disagree with him over that. I voted for the man because he said he was going to put America first. I didn't vote for him because he was Trump.
Moves will kill the recovery. It's all happened, but I'm a Qatari agent because I'm right.
Hey.
And so now you just see me comment on this, so I must be bad. And I see other people saying, oh, how dare you cover this up? No, it's absolutely staged. On and on and on. It's just crazy town, folks. You've got to do your own research. You've got to look at the facts. DC's 95% Democrat. More than half the cops there are Democrats. They weren't going to take part in a cover-up and then, stage this, thing where this crazy tries to bum rush and get in there with a shotgun. I think it's what you saw is what you get. But Caroline Leavitt said shots will be fired tonight. She said, yeah, it's going to be a big slug out. It's going to get heated. Shots will be fired. That is a saying that's overused, meaning people arguing and saying mean things to each other. JP Sears just had that term a few weeks ago in that skit we did about my IQ test. Does that mean that, he's involved? I mean, just come on, folks. Come on. Now, Caroline Leavitt's husband did tell a reporter, she called in on Fox News about it, that, hey, you need to be really careful, watch out tonight, because they all know that this is one of the first big public events where people can get in and there's lax security, and Trump was warned. So they're all moving.
All right, guys. Now let's go ahead and get into some Iran coverage, and let's start with something a little bit fun. I'm gonna be real with you, because you guys know I've been playing these guys' videos from Explosive Media. Some young Gen Z guys out of Iran who's pretty much, voicing their opinions on the war. And Lego and what is an AI animated Lego, fashion, which I'm not gonna lie is pretty damn entertaining, And if you're not familiar with the work, I can go ahead and show you some of it real quick. Oh God, make sure to double tap that screen and like the video as I'm pulling up this example right here. And shout out to my man Lord Nakoru.